everybody, it's Holger Müller here from Constellation Research with my fabulous co-host Liz Miller.
What's happening, Holger? You went on the wrong side again. See,
yeah, I don't know. I'm left and right twisted. This is the fastest show in enterprise software with my co-host Liz Miller. We talk about all the news, all the exciting things that happen before Thanksgiving, right? So
before Thanksgiving,
yeah. Is around the corner.
It's the tryptophan weekend. Here we go. We're going to have turkey. We're going to have leftover. It's going to be awesome. Holger, biggest question for you. We're leading into Thanksgiving here. What are you most thankful for in this year? I mean, other than me. I understand that I'm going to top the list. I get that. It's okay. But so other than me, what are you most thankful for?
No, thankful for health, obviously, right? We're in the middle of a pandemic.
God, yeah.
I'm also going to be thankful because I'm escaping Turkey Fest. I'll be in Germany, and I will see how much turkey is over there. And I might have a turkey-free turkey Thanksgiving fest, so which I'm totally fine with. Because who likes? Are you going
to send us pictures of like Turkish meat skewers again for Thanksgiving, like all day on Thursday?
Some
it's
people
going to be
like
all the
that,
Turkish
right?
fast food.
The alternate turkey is being cut off the big skewers. Yeah, maybe for being back with my roots here, being in Germany and Thanksgiving, I'm going to take a turkey döner, right? How does that sound, right? The alternate döner, the alternate turkey.
Do they make schnitzel out of turkey?
Well, sort of turkey, right? I don't know what kind of. I don't think there's turkey döners.
There's turkey. There isn't turkey schnitzel, is there? Like I can't even think of ever having it. Like pork. Pork's my jam. I'm not gonna lie. That's the one I like.
Traditionally, it's lamb. Then they do, of course, chicken. Then they do
veal
all the time. Then they have this thing that was amassed before, which I don't like. It's totally mixed things. Basically, it's a hamburger piled up on a skewer. I don't know what that is.
No, don't do that one.
It tastes good from the mixture, right? Because you can put all kind of stuff in a hamburger, right? But I think we're not supposed to talk about culinary effects and escaping the turkey.
Because then we could get into the whole, like, do you want the smooth canned cranberry or the lumpy kind? And that just is a whole other hour.
I don't know what you're thankful for, Liz. I want to know if you make a turkey and how you prepare it.
I do make a turkey, and it's all about the brine. You got to brine that sucker before you go. Luckily for my Thanksgiving, we go to my husband's family, and they do 2 turkeys every year because we have folks with celiacs and you can't stuff the turkey in. So now sometimes we even have like a smoked turkey and then like a regular like roasted turkey, and it's chaos and it's bedlam and it's leftovers for days, and I make soup on the day afterwards. It's great. It's all about family. So you know what? More than turkey, I'm thankful for that. But listen, I'm also thankful that you and I get to be here to talk about the news.
Obviously, on my watch, very interesting, of course, right? I talk about enterprise application platforms, the PaaS underneath the SaaS, the biggest SaaS vendor, enterprise application vendor SaaS. That's a different story. SAP had their Tech Ed event. They talked a lot about free tier and learning. And I'm always a little cautious when I hear free tier learning because I think, why do you talk about this so much? If you have a great product, people even pay for the learning, right? Or they even pay for the tier, right? So if that's being pushed, there's something not so strong potentially in the product innovation side. And that's what I'm afraid of is happening a little bit because SAP is so consumed for a good thing ultimately to bring everybody on the BTP, the business transaction platform, which consumes the platform to provide things on the integration side, the applications to the benefit for the customer will be one consistent thing, right? Undoing all the sins from the past with different products, different cloud stacks and so on. So it will be all good for the customers, but it means innovations taking a pause. Of course, I talked about low-code, no-code with the Finnish acquisition of AppGyver, which nobody has heard before. Of course, they have something where they want to move their BW customers to the cloud. Who would have thought about that, right? To their new HANA data warehouse cloud offering, whatever. But that's pretty much it.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question on SAP, Holger, because I mean, at the beginning of the year, we heard from Christian Klein that one of their big focuses was really going to be how to transition SAP to be a far more developer-friendly environment, because they haven't necessarily been that easy environment for developers. So is it that innovation isn't necessarily happening on the platform, or are they now focused on how to empower innovation because of the platform? Like they're not going to do a ton to the tools other than get it to a point where their customers can be more innovative, or like what do you think the root is there?
Yeah, I think it's all about enabling customers to build innovation with the platform, but before they can do that, they need to be on the platform. Right? It doesn't help me if Ariba, SuccessFactors, Concur, Qualtrics, well, not part of the fold, whatever, is on a different platform, and I can't even get there with a single part. Right? They did one interesting thing, was right for the full code developer, which on the SAP world, of course, is ABAP. ABAP is becoming a cloud platform from an IDE perspective. So that's a significant progress and giving confidence to the 3.5-4 million ABAP developers, ABAP certified professionals out there, right? So, so I think it's getting on the platform, and then the art will be for Jürgen Müller and his team to have an innovative platform that people say, well, thank you for bringing it all together. Now I'm using a third-party product to build stuff on top, right? Which is the risk. Right? So they have to really put the foot on the pedal to really enable the innovation which their customers want to do, because SAP will remain the system of record. The question is, how many other next generation applications, what I talk about all the time, will you build on top of SAP and with SAP tools, right? That's the interesting thing to see.
I think the most interesting part that kind of the news that's come out of SAP, at least on my end of the world, is Bob Stutz retiring. Right? You have a legend in CRM, and probably one of the biggest thinkers in CRM that anyone's seen out there. I mean, I think he's pretty much touched every single major CRM system known to man.
Well, they didn't let him in at Oracle, right? So, so here's an interesting tidbit, right? So Oracle bought Siebel, right? And they picked Ed Abo over Bob Stutz, right? So that's the interesting thing which we need to speak about, both Ed Abo and Bob Stutz. Why, right? But no, Ed Abo anyway at C3 AI back with Tom Siebel, so they have a gang. But maybe Bob Stutz is going to go back to C3 AI. We'll see that. That
would be hysterical. Like get the whole band back together and see what happens. But I think on the SAP side, I'm certainly sad to see Bob go, because he's a legend, right? But I am also kind of excited to see what happens in that portfolio, because there is so much potential there, and there is so much opportunity in that SAP CX portfolio, that I'm hoping that what we see on kind of your side of the world, that integration, really thinking things through, how are we going to get our customers, to innovate faster and to go faster? I hope we start seeing that on the CX side. So I'm excited about what 2022 has in store for them. Right. Listen, on my side of the world, it has been a very odd time, because I'm seeing a lot of customer call center solutions starting to make this really big foray into certainly customer experience, where they sit at the front line. But I'm seeing a disturbing trend of a lot of people wanting to own it. So I'm like, please stop trying to own it. Stop. Marketing went down that path. We didn't do well. You don't own it.
Look at the Zendesk acquisition of SurveyMonkey, right? So obviously the experience economy is something.
The experience economy is there and it's booming, but to capitalize on it, you have to operate as if CX is a team sport. It can't just be one function rolling with it, right? And so I think there's some big changes and some trends that I'm tracking on that watch. But got to spend some time with the folks at Freshworks, and they've got a lot of really cool stuff up their sleeve. Got to spend some time with the folks over at Sugar CRM, and I think if there's a single thread that I pull through all of those is, when it comes to meeting the customer where they are, it takes a heck of a lot more than maybe sending out a dynamic email. So I think we're going to see a lot of new stuff happening there. And then the last thing is, hey, it's the holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. It is attack vector season officially. Welcome, everyone. With Black Friday and with all this holiday shopping, with everyone spending massive amounts of time online, we're going to see a lot more cyber attacks coming up. And Cloudflare just blocked a 2 terabyte DDoS attack, one of the largest in history. I mean, we're now measuring these DDoS attacks in 2 terabyte, 2.5, 2.7. We've recently seen 2.68. This is going to be happening. It's bigger, it's badder, and it's always a cover for something worse. Yeah. So never think
credit cards are going to be stolen for Thanksgiving, huh? How many credit cards?
Yeah, it's going to happen, and I think that layer on top of that, not only the credit card theft and the identity theft that's going to be happening, we've now also got this new land of vaccination ID theft, right? So now we've got a whole. I mean, I've already started seeing scams coming out saying, hey, use this new app, send me your new app code, send me this QR code, give me your vaccination record and information. So, folks, time to clamp down.
They're creative. If there's a way to work around, they find a workaround. Well, on my
If
side,
there's a way, there's a way.
Infosys had their annual summit, which was interesting as always to catch up with them. They're doing well. They took us to one of their customers, the New York Nets, which is always a great experience.
Oh, gosh, so much
Boston,
fun.
as our colleague Sherry says, not in Boston, but in
Boston.
And even Forhead is the analyst, and who also this week, last week, had their Experience for You conference, where I was able to moderate a panel, which was a good thing, right? So one of the more innovative ERP vendors with a very modern platform. Cool.
Well, listen, we got a lot of stuff in this episode, folks. Stick around. You're going to be hearing another Salon 50, so you're going to get to know yet another enterprise executive. We can't wait for you guys to see it, but listen, most importantly, for anywhere, no matter where you are in the world, we are grateful for you guys tuning in. So check it out.
Thanks for listening. Happy Turkey Fest.
Hey everyone, listen, I am here with, and I can say it now, Supernova Award winner, Jonathan Becker. Hey there, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you, Liz?
I'm doing great. I'm wearing a new accessory that was gifted to me during our award ceremony. We got to have some fun. As our audience knows, I'm a Kings fan, but you know what? I'm a hockey fan, and I'm a marketing fan, and I'm a CX fan, and that's why I wanted to get you on here and chat a little bit, because you guys did something that I think is really worth spending a few minutes on, you know, in the context of the Supernova Award and developing a next generation customer experience. Because when the pandemic hit, buildings closed, right? And they said, no, everyone go home, stay home. Hey, hockey, what you going to do with that? Right? It became something much bigger for your fans everywhere, not just fans who couldn't make it to game night. Fans everywhere couldn't be part of the experience. So you guys really rethought what the experience of being a Sharks fan could be, and you put them in the game. Share a little bit about what you did.
All right, so I'll reset the context because we're sort of in the tail end of the pandemic now. Let's go back to April of 2020. As you said, everybody shut down. The last time that none of the 4 U.S. sports league played a game in April was 1883. So talk about unprecedented. The fact that every building was closed. So if you're in the business of live sports, live events, because we do music, concerts as well, what do? So for a while, people did the obvious things. They aired classic games. That fills up the airway. They released never foreseen content that had been sitting in their studios and go, well, this feels fresh, even though we recorded it a year ago. And, you know, we did a lot of player interviews about what happens when you're in quarantine. I think everybody in the world watched Tiger King together for about 2 weeks back there, right? But
right, exactly.
That's not that engaging. At some point, that becomes repetitive.
Right.
And so it wasn't us. I won't take credit for going first. What we did is change the genre. Some people started creating simulated games. By simulated games, meaning they take NHL 20, which is from EA Sports.
Right.
And they would pit one computer against another. So one game would be the simulated Kings team, and another one would be the simulated Sharks team. And let's say they originally were scheduled to play on a Tuesday in April, we would just let the simulated teams play.
The sim play.
And they would play against each other. And it worked, sort of, right? We couldn't broadcast it on classic TV, but we broadcast it on social media, primarily Twitch. The problem with that, and the thing that bothered me and our team, is because it was simulated, it lacks spontaneity. Right? It's a computer simulation, so you can kind of figure out what's going on.
Right.
And spontaneity and that human element is why we all love live sports.
You miss the zag, right? It's like
exactly.
like Burnsy passes off to the other side. You didn't see it happening. Oh, what happened? Yeah.
That's why you say on any given day, the statistics may or may not matter because things happen to make this surreal, more than real. So we started doing a bunch of what if. We used what I would describe as a traditional startup mentality. It says, well, why not? What if we added fans into the simulation and let fans play alongside the pro players? Now, if you're going to do that, then the avatar of the fan has to be realistic, which means we need to know how tall they are. Do they shoot left or right-handed? If you're not a hockey fan, it's opposite of what you think, the way you hold the stick.
Exactly.
But that's a right? They need a jersey name, they need a jersey number, etc. And we started injecting them And then we realized, oh, we don't have to limit ourselves with fans and current players. We can start introducing alumni players as well.
Yeah. You
And
got like the Team Solani coming back and playing. I mean, amazing lineups. I mean,
he
so
played
cool.
for both us, the Kings, and the Sharks. So we could even have Timo play against himself. In fact, one of the things we did is we took one of the most famous alumni we have, which is Olin Nolan, and we played him at different points of his career to see whether the 24-year-old Owen really was better than the 31-year-old Owen because of that. And
I think Timu pretty much just stayed the same the whole time. Was like Ducks, Sharks, Ducks. He beat himself. It's pretty bad.
So Liz,
that's
you get
awesome.
a different kind of engagement that you can't have in the real world, because fans in the real world are always saying about, well, this younger player, he would never beat my favorite alumni because things were better in my day. But now you can simulate that.
Yeah.
You can even change the action in a way you can't as well. And so, as opposed to the way you and I as technologists think of digital twins, this becomes breaking the barrier, because you can do things in the digital world that you can't do in the real world.
I love that. But one of the reactions, and what I remember so much about your entry, was that one of the simulated players, a fan got injured.
That's right.
In the game. And like the game actually, like he was carried off the ice like by the trainers. Like that's so cool.
So let's be clear. He didn't get real life injured. He got digitally injured.
No.
So no fans were harmed in the.
No fans were hurt as part of this experience.
Yeah. So great story. So this fan gets injured in the first period of a game, right? 3 periods in a hockey game. And the first thing that this fan says is start screaming for their money back. So in some sense, real life and simulated life are pretty much the same, because that's what fans do. And that, as you said, a player and the trainer came out to check on them and pulled them out of the game, right? And then we had our real life trainer call that fan, because we knew who they were, to tell them how to get better, right? So you need to do this. It's a knee injury. Obviously, it's not really getting better. We even had our general manager call that fan the next day and say, I've got to put you on injured reserve. You got to sit out this many games, etc.
That's awesome.
So the fan went from I want my money back to, I think he wrote on Twitch, or maybe it was Discord, this is my highlight of 2020 and a moment I won't ever forget.
Right, but I think that as a customer experience professional, that's what we're all aiming for, right? That moment that someone doesn't forget, even if it's something little, and especially something that transcends that digital to real life, picked up the phone, had that experience. There are so many of us that can actually apply that thinking and what you guys did into how do we rethink experiences in the call center, right?
Exactly right.
What's that moment if someone had a really bad experience? What happens if the store manager calls just to follow up and say, hey, is everything okay? Like, what happens with those little triggered moments that changes someone's experience from, I want my money back, to, I'm never going to forget this? So last question I got for you. If you could do it over again, okay, not the pandemic, the lockdown, let's remove that part of it. But if you could recreate an experience like that again, what would you do differently?
Well, I'll start with the obvious thing, which is the crisis forced us to do this simulation to get on Twitch. We didn't have even a Twitch account when the pandemic hit.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So we stacked it up from brand new, a bit of a panic and stuff like that. We always said, we need to do this. We need to learn about Twitch. We need to get on. But the reality was, what I call the tyranny of the urgent. The real job got in the way.
Yep.
And, some people thought that becoming more digital would disrupt our core business. All the things you hear with technology companies and other companies as well. But when we had no choice, then we did it, and it's only benefited us. And so if I could go back in time, we all knew it was the right thing to do, just like many other leaders who hear this will know it's the right thing to do. But don't wait for a crisis to do what you know is the right thing to do. I wish I had started this 2 or 3 years ago, as opposed to waiting till now. The other thing is, I think we focused it too much as a pandemic placebo. And the reality is we need to keep doing it. We've spent so much energy in opening back up, we've forgotten to go back and do the digital simulations again. So we need both. It's not an either or. Yeah. It's a 1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Jonathan, once again, it's always delightful to talk to you. But again, congratulations on the win. It was a really tough category. I mean, we had school principals who restarted schools. I mean, it was a tough group, and I think you got to meet some of your peers at CCE. So thanks again, and hey, have a great game tonight. Have fun.
Thanks, really appreciate it, and thanks for the honor. We are indeed honored.
You bet.
Hello everybody, it's Holger Müller here of Constellation Research for another edition of the Salon 50. I'm here, of course, with my co-host, Liz.
What's up, Holger? We got a special guest today.
The man in the middle is nobody else than Don Weinstein or Weinstein. What do I say, Don? From
Weinstein.
Weinstein. I like that. I should have said it correctly right away. But there's Einstein, Weinstein.
It's not pronunciation hour, Holger. It's a Salon 50. Come on, dude.
Salon 50. You're so right. You're so right. So this is the fastest 5 minutes in enterprise software. 10 questions, 30 seconds to answer. Our guests ask us 5 questions. We get to ask them 3 questions back. And Liz and me are dying to know who Don is going to ask first, of course. We're already nervous here, right? Don, are you ready?
I am ready. So, I mean, Holger, I can't resist this one. What is your biggest regret?
Well, coming on the show with Liz, of course. So this was a serious one. No, my biggest regret is probably that I have not learned any non-European language.
Fair enough. So English counts as European then?
Yeah, marginal on that one, Don.
Because I learned British English in school, right? So I guess that was the first question to ask you, Don. What is the most popular dish you can make yourself?
Ooh. Oh, that I can make myself. Oh, I don't really make much myself, so that's a tricky question. But I do a really mean job at home with my waffle iron, and you can waffle anything. Yep. So we've waffled macaroni and cheese. That was probably a big inspiration there. So that's
stuffing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna give you a Thanksgiving tip. Getting waffle iron the heck out of stuffing. It's amazing. You won't regret it.
I appreciate that. I will put that into practice soon. So I get to ask another one now?
Yep.
Looking for Liz. Okay, Liz, what work habit do you wish you could break?
Saving every email. Like, my email folder is ridiculous, and I don't ever delete emails. I just either put them in other folders, because I have learned in like a year from now, when someone's like, you never did that, I'm like, I'm the vindictive one that goes back through her emails, and I'm like, oh, didn't I? And I like re-forward the email. So I wish I could break the habit of like saving thousands of emails. It's horrible. It's horrible. Okay.
For Don.
My question for Don is, if you could do it again, would you have taken the same education path, or have you gone to work right away? What would you've done it the same, or would you have done something differently?
You know, it's funny. I was just talking about this. So my education path was, I got a bachelor's in engineering, a master's in engineering, and an MBA. In hindsight, that was probably more education than I probably needed. So my entire 20s, I was in night school, getting just piling up. I probably could have been an honorary German with all the degrees I stacked up there. So,
I don't even have a technical degree. Don't worry about it. So,
I might have gone with one less degree on that one.
Less degree. I like it.
Yeah. Education overkill.
Very good.
Well, Holger, what is the one technology that is just indispensable to you that you could not do without, and why?
It's probably a great question. I was thinking smartphone, but I really think it's the internet, right? So if you think back at the times when we ran with fax machines and running to post offices, right? The internet has really changed the way how we do everything, I would say, right now.
Yeah. It's funny. I talk with my children about this, and I explained to them, pre-internet, when I left the office, you were done for the day. I stopped working. That was it. So it's
now you get to walk past your office like every time you go someplace.
And we still remember the time, right?
Exactly.
Very good. So, what was your favorite job in your career?
Yeah, look, best job I ever had was the one prior to this one. I think was when I had the opportunity to lead the venturing group of ADP. It was certainly the most fun because it was a lot of creativity. We got to try a bunch of different things. It was when we spawned out the ADP marketplace. We built the ADP mobile app, and we were just tasked with creating a lot of new product in an unconstrained environment. And we got to build the team from scratch. That was kind of the cool part. Every single job I've had since, you sort of inherit the team, and that was the one time where we just started from a clean sheet of paper and made everything up as we went along. And it's the only time I've ever been able to do that in my whole career.
Very cool.
So I get to ask one for Liz now.
Yeah.
So Liz, just tell me something that's on your bucket list. What's to be done?
Oh, something that's such a good question. Oh my gosh. Interestingly enough, probably learn a language that I didn't learn when I was younger, which is Korean. I'm half Korean, and my mom, I was raised in a time here in the U.S. when it was just like barely legal for like people to get, like white folk and Koreans to get married. So when my mom immigrated, she was like, no, you will be American. You will only speak English. And so I kind of only speak Korean menu. And then like certain curse words, because that's the important part, right? Like I can order and I know when someone's saying like a bad word. So I'm trying to fill in that gap there. So that's kind of on my bucket list, to be able to shock my mom and aunt into actually responding when they're talking about it. So that's what I'm trying to do. I think that'd be pretty fun. Okay, so here's one for you.
The operator just had a glitch. Go ahead.
Here's one for you. In the realm of wisdom, is there a book that has really inspired you? Something that kind of keeps the wheels turning for you?
Yeah. I do love to read as well. And the book Sapiens by the historian philosopher, I always struggle pronouncing his name. Harari, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. Yuval Noah Harari. He actually wrote 3 books. Sapiens, about the history of humankind. Homo Deus, about the future Deus. My Latin's not so good. And then the last one is 21 lessons for the 21st century. And I found it to be awesome. Very, very, very inspirational. But I could boil it all down and save you the trouble of the book and just meditate more.
Okay. I like it. Just comes down to that. Don't worry about it. Yeah,
the world's going crazy. Just meditate.
A lot of big words. Don't worry about it. Just meditate more. We're all good. I like it. I think that works for me.
Very good. And next up, I get one more for
Holger. You get one to shoot it over.
Number 9, yeah.
Last but not least, I have to double back onto wisdom, Holger. But if I could give you the spin on it, it's like the advice you would give to yourself is the advice you would give to your younger self. So go back in time, and what would you tell young Holger to do or do differently?
Yeah, it depends on what time you would ask me this, but right now I would say slow down, enjoy more times. You're only 20-something once, you're only 30-something once. Now we don't go on to leave some mystery on date, but make the best out of it. This is the only place where I only know the airport, the hotel, the place, and I've not seen anything. It's a place where people take vacation or do 1 week visit, which I wouldn't have the time, but since like 5-6 years I'm extending my trips to things like this and try to get a better work-life balance. We all try to do that. So last question for you, Don. What notion, what word goes mostly on your nerves, which you hear in the tech space or in general space being uttered?
I'm gonna go with the general space. So the 2 words that annoy me the most are go and like, in place of somebody actually saying something. Like nobody says anything. Like we stop speaking, we just go, and then she was like, and then I go, and then I was like, and then she goes. It's like, well, did they actually say anything, or were they just going and liking the whole time? So I can't help it.
You must have teenagers, Don.
I have got my share of teenagers, and they've never spoken a word. They just like and go their way through life.
There is no like-alike.
Yeah, it's basically you've met everyone from the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles now. It's just,
I think
the like thing is much bigger, Liz. The like thing is an English world phenomenon. I even heard the like thing in British English. So,
Yeah.
like
God forbid.
It's a hard one to break. Oh, but you're so right. It's just. Now I'm gonna be super conscious every time I say like.
Yes. And that, if I could sprinkle a little literally on top of that, literally all my kids literally say is they don't say anything like
Insane, Dawn, especially when they're not actually saying something that is literally like anything they mean. Stop just using the word. Oh.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess I wonder what our parents would say, what fashionable words or non-words we would have used when we were teenagers. So,
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm from the San Fernando Valley. My parents would have said like, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
You're saying like has
in the 1980s, that is all we said. Like, oh my God, like, okay, for sure. Like, welcome to the life of a Valley girl. What's up, Sherman Oaks?
That like has jumped the generational gap, and it's
yeah.
We might have to live with like forever.
Forever. It's going nowhere. Thank you, Sherman Oaks Galleria. Oh, so bad.
It also crossed the continental divide. So
it did.
That too. It's we can talk about diseases spreading and so on, but this thing was more than airborne.
Verbal pandemic. Can't help it.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, John. This was fun. Thanks for playing along. That was really great. Got to learn something more about you, a little more about us, and you were a great host. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Don.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me
on. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, seriously, Holger's gone. Run now. Hide. Go. Now's your chance. I'm totally kidding. Listen, I just wanted to come back and say thank you so much for joining us for CRTV episode 22. We're going to be back with episode 23 when Doug Henshin and Andy Thurai take on the news. We're heading into that last part of event silly season, so there is going to be more than enough to catch you up on. You can follow us on Twitter at ConstellationR, Liz K. Miller, or Holger MU. And until next time, folks, thanks for joining. It is parent-teacher conference day where I can figure out how much of a turd my kid is. Okay, Holger, you got to figure out your green screen too, dude.
Yes, exactly. My different computer, and I can't control the Zoom. I have to install some Logitech software, which is going to take about 15 minutes. No, just kidding. But it's installing. Yeah, because not everybody has such a nicely organized background like Liz.
Oh, I got a tarantula back there today. We're just going to do this every CRTV. Like, can you see the random shit that Liz's daughter has put into camera view?
Cool. What are we talking about? What do we have to film?
I don't freaking know. We're talking about news. It's got to stay sane until next Thursday. Oh, shit. That's not where we go. I probably shouldn't chew gum while we're doing this. Yeah.
Always on the wrong side. Yeah, here we go.
I really have to spit out my gum or I'm going to be chewing gum like cow chewing cud the entire episode. Isn't that a lovely idea?
Yeah, why not? I mean, this would be quintessential American chewing gum.
Oh, yeah.
Who does the intro? How long do we have to talk? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 50 minutes?
Hannah, how long do we have on this? Like, it's like a 45-minute news segment? She's not saying, so I said we just do it.
She can put in the chat. I have to do the start again?
Yes, every time, damn it. Let's go.
Like, I'm doing all the heavy lifting here. All right.
Oh,
yeah, please, some compassion.
I'm getting you an empathy violin for Christmas. Yep, exactly. It's panini time, people.